Today I'm going to be going over how to create the second row after the toe bumps for either the rear foot of the dragon pattern or the rear foot of the griffin pattern. This is what the toe bumps look like for the dragon pattern. You have 3 bumps in a row with a single crochet between each bump. As you create the bumps, you can orient them by pushing them to one side or the other. This is the back side of the work. This is the front side of the work. When I started, I chained and then I worked back along the chains, and as I worked back, I made sure that I was pushing those toe bumps towards me as I created them. So these are the 1, 2, 3 toe bumps. Now I have this diagram here to show you the 1, 2, 3 toe bumps and the 2 single crochets in between to visualize them as simple shapes, because after you create the bumps you chain 1 and then the pattern says to reorient your work and to make single crochets around the entire edge of those toe bumps to start creating that long foot. So to do that, you want to place 1 stitch on every side of these shapes for the toe bumps. So if this is the first toe bump right here, second toe bump right here, third toe bump right here, and these are the 2 single crochets. We start out, we're going to crochet around that back edge. We start out at this corner of the shapes. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 single crochets all around that whole back edge of these stitches. So to do that, we start on this side edge of the toe bumps, which is right here. You insert the hook and create a single crochet. Just sort of create your own space for that. Then we rotate the work because now we're going to continue around the back. So this is the underside of the toe bumps. You can tell because of these holes that are in the bottom of the toes. When you position the foot for the dragon, you don't want those holes to be showing, so you'll position the foot this way where there are no visible holes. The holes are handy because you can insert the hook into them to create these stitches. So for the second stitch, you go into that first hole. That's your second single crochet. Then you go between the toes into the bottom of the single crochet in between the toe bumps. That was stitch number 3. Stitch number 4 is into the toe bump, so we insert into that hole. That's 4. Now between the toes for stitch 5. Now into the final toe for stitch 6. And we've done half the work. For stitch 7, we're going opposite stitch 1 into the side of this final toe bump, and just force your hook in there, find a place, make that single crochet. Turn the toes again. Now we're looking at the tops of the toes. We're going to go across them this way, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we go into the top of the stitch, and then in between the toes for stitch number 9. Top of the toe for stitch number 10, between the toes for stitch 11, top of the toe for stitch 12. That's all 12 stitches. Then I ask that you slip stitch the first stitch and chain 1 to start your new row. And that gives you this nice base of 12 stitches that you continue to crochet on to build this long foot. That's for the dragon. It's the same exact concept for the griffin, but there are 4 toes for the griffin. So this is the griffin toe bumps. There are 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. there's a single crochet between each toe. This is what the back looks like. It's the same concept. I worked back along the chain to create these. As I worked back along the chain, I made sure that the toe bumps were oriented towards me by pushing them. This is how it should look before you start the second row. We are at the same place. We're going to crochet around the back of those toe bumps. If this is the first toe bump, we're starting here. So we're going to make this stitch first and just go around so that there is one single crochet in the side of every bump or single crochet on this work, for a total of 16 single crochets. And to do that, you've already chained one after you finish the toe bumps. You insert into the side of the first toe bump, and then you rotate the toes. So we're going into the back. These are the same holes that I showed you before on the dragon toes. They're here. You insert it into the first hole from the first toe bump, and then in between the toes, we're on stitch number 3. 4 is into the next toe bump. 5 is between the toes. 6 is into the next toe bump. 7 is between the toes. And 8 is into the last toe bump. That created this nice straight line of single crochets. We're going to turn the